Welcome everyone! Unless you live in a cave the past 15 years, you certainly know who or what is Marvel. Anyway, let me remind you. It's an American film company attached to Walt Disney Studio. It's also one of the most liked franchises thanks to the fact they made 4 of the 10 highest grossing films and each release causes massive reactions. Among the various subjects, they often talk about science. It's true that they make their character more credible, but it leads people, especially the youngest, to believe in things that are absolutely not realistic. And we are here today to show you the truth through 3 superheroes. In the beginning, we have Ant-Man, who is supposed to have all his superpower thanks to science. Next, we have Iron Man, the super engineer. And finally, the future of the MCU, Spider-Man. To describe this specimen, I found you one of the best, one of the greatest scientists of this century. He is 22 and has already 3 PhDs. He is a research fellow at the ENS and Polytechnic, and he has worked at Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge and MIT. It is Théophile. So Théophile, who is exactly Ant-Man? And could we be able tomorrow to reduce our size and shrink in the quantum field as Ant-Man?
Come on, Justin. Everyone could have done what I did. But you don't want me to speak about me. You want me to explain it to you guys. What is the superpower of Ant-Man? And is it realistic? So Ant-Man, also known as Scott Lang, and his superpower is to shrink down to get the size of a single ant. So for this superpower, he uses quantum properties. In the movie, they explain that the particle reduces the size between atoms and molecules.
But in the movie, we can see Ant-Man getting smaller than one single atom.
Yes, you're right, completely. If he just removes the space between atoms, he can't get smaller than one single atom, okay? That's simple. Then if the explanation is not to reduce the space between atoms, some people say, well, it's not the space between atoms, but it's the space in atoms. Okay, I did the math, and let's see what happened. We know that atoms are made of 99.999999996% of nothing, of void. And if we would just take off all this void, what would be the consequences? And I found that if Scott Lang is 70 kilograms and that he reduces all the empty space in his atoms, yes, between electrons and quarks and so on, if he reduces this whole space, then he would be still 10 to the power of 13 times bigger than one single atom.
But Scott Lang can go subatomic. So how?
No, it's not realistic. He can't just shrink down at this size. Well, okay, if you're not still convinced, let's suppose that Ant-Man is able to shrink down to the size of an ant. We don't say here to the size of one single atom, but just to the size of an ant. If Scott Lang take off the whole empty space of his atoms, the mass wouldn't change because he removed only empty space. That's a bit weird, but the mass is always the same. I calculated that if he reduced his size by keeping his weight, his bones would break. And by keeping his mass and shrinking down to 2 centimeters, which is still much bigger than one single ant, on each leg, he would have 28 gigapascals.
28 gigapascal on each leg?
Yes, 28, that's huge. Just watch this curve that shows the compressive ultimate stress. You know what it means, you know what it is, and you can see that bones are breaking after getting more than 130 megapascals. And here, Ant-Man has 28 gigapascals. So it's 200 times bigger. And, well, no, in the movie he can move like he wants, as he wants. But I say, yes, if he do this, then his bone would break. So is it realistic? I think not. Another argument. In the movie we can see that Scott Lang is getting bigger. And again, I watch what would be the consequences of getting this size by keeping always the same weight. If Ant-Man is increasing his size by a factor of 10, then his volume is increasing by a factor of 1,000. And what happens if you change the density? Do you know the Archimedes force? It pushes Ant-Man to the stratosphere. Ant-Man is getting a satellite.
Nah, really? A satellite? It's not too much?
Yes, for real. It's not by placing the word quantum everywhere that everything is getting realistic. This movie is pure quantum mumbo-jumbo. So sorry, Justin, but Ant-Man is absolutely not realistic.
Come on, everything is not perfect. But there are still some things that we can keep.
No. I said he's not realistic. You can say what you want. I am the scientist, you're nothing. Okay? Okay. If you're saying that he can survive to my arguments, if you're not convinced, let's see if he can survive to this.
Did you really do that? No. Théophile, did you really kill...
Come on, Justin. I didn't kill Ant-Man. Or, yes, maybe, but I killed the idea of Ant-Man because he's not realistic. And I did it for you and for all those who are thinking, yes, Ant-Man is realistic, maybe we will see him one day. But I'm saying, and that's why I killed the idea of Ant-Man, because that's absolutely not realistic. And now my eggs is ready. So who's next?
Don't say another word, Théophile. You went too far. I can't let you destroy everything. Don't pay attention to this man. Let's go ahead and talk about our next superhero. I mean Iron Man, of course. And who will be the best to talk about him, if not Professor Florian, greatest inventor of his generation. Thanks, Professor, to be with us today. Let me introduce you Iron Man, aka Tony Stark, the billionaire who created a suit to allow him to save the world. Can you tell us more about him, Professor?
Yes, of course, miss. This amazing guy is able to fly, to shoot missiles, and to be protected. He became a hero and he protects his country against all kinds of
A
threats.
nice superhero. What are the different characteristics of his suit? It can look so real.
Yes, I will explain it, but don't be so hopeful. I have doubts that it can be created. I will begin by telling you the fact that it can fly.
Yes, the most impressive fact. Go ahead.
It is currently possible to make a flying suit. For example, Richard Browning is able to fly at a speed of 32 miles per hour and to go at an altitude of 12,000 feet. If you want to get this suit, you can buy it for only $400,000. This suit is not easy to master. We can't do the same stunts that Iron Man in the movies, but we can still fly.
That's a beginning. Never say never. And what about the protections?
The fact that the suit protects his wearer is realistic. For example, we can make a suit to protect a deminer. In this case, the suit protects his wearer against explosions. And we can, therefore, with choosing the right materials, we can make protection also against bullets. In the movie, they used also health sensor to collect medical data of Tony Stark. The sensors are coupled with the artificial intelligence called Friday in the movie. And for example, there is a scene when Tony Stark loses consciousness. The AI detects that Tony is not able to control the suit, and the AI take control of the suit to bring Tony Stark in a safety place. The suit gives to Tony Stark great strength. For example, we are actually able to increase our strength with exoskeletons. They are used to carry heavy loads. They are also used for people with disabilities to increase their mobility.
With everything you are saying, I think Iron Man is realistic.
Wait, I'm not done. Where do you think all the energy of the armor come from?
I don't know. I imagine it needs a lot of energy.
Yes. In the movie, the power comes from the arc reactor, which is in the Earth. He has the same size than a human Earth, and it can generate a power of 3 gigajoules per second. And it is the equivalent of 2 or 3 nuclear reactors.
But we are capable of producing this energy, aren't we? So there is no problem.
We can't add a generator with the same size of a nuclear reactor in the suit.
Then just put a big battery in the suit?
No, we can't. We can't add a battery for the same reason of the size and of the weight of the battery, because to have enough power to make the suit fly, there will be a battery bigger than the suit, and of course it is not possible. So I'm sorry to disappoint you, but we can't recreate the same armor than Iron Man. If you want to fly, you can't have the ballistic protection because it increases the weight and it is too big. And if you have the ballistic protection, you can't fly. So it is impossible to have all these characteristics in one suit. For the moment, but we are on the right way too.
Okay. Certainly we are. And our world's still improving. And that improvement brings us to the next top superhero of the moment, Spider-Man. He's a part of the Marvel Universe since 1962. He can climb walls, swing from building to building pulling webs, heal and run faster than a simple mortal, and that with just a simple bite of a radioactive spider? How is that possible?
Well, radioactivity is not in my area of expertise, but maybe we can call back Dr. Crazy?
Okay, let's do that.
Wow! Hey, Justin! That's fine. You can just do what you want with me. Okay, so you want me to speak about Spider-Man? Yes, changing DNA. Okay, it's possible, but for Spider-Man, you have to change the whole DNA of his body with one single bite.
You are not supposed to say that!
And come on, Spider have the same amount of radioactivity than a banana. Yes, a banana.
I see. After all, we don't know much about radioactivity and everything around it. But we did see Spider-Man stop a metro with the strength of his web.
Yes, it is something I can explain. There is a scene in Spider-Man where he stops a train using his webs, and they are scientists who calculated the speed of the train and the weight. They conclude that the tensile strength of Spider-Man's web should be about 3 gigapascals. And if we compare it to the tensile strength of the real spider, which are around 1 to 12 gigapascal, we conclude that it is realistic and the Spider-Man's web can stop the train.
So, it's realistic. Despite some imperfection, we still can hope to see the superhero one day or the other, because they are realistic.
What? Did you really think the snap is realistic?